Overspending and impulse spending is keeping you from building the life you want to build. So let me show you 3 ways to stop doing that. All the time I hear people say things like, I want to save, but I cannot stop overspending, or I have these goals that I want to hit, but my spending gets in the way of it. And it's almost like they don't realize that it's up to them to make that happen. And that used to be me too, trust me. But if you don't put tools and systems in place for yourself to stop that behavior that you want to stop, you're not going to stop it, especially when it gets into the moment. You see things you want to buy, you're just going to go ahead and buy them because you have no way to talk yourself out of it. These 3 methods all have the same goal. It's to force a pause so you can stop and think about that thing. Here are the 3 methods, and before we get into those, I need you to know that before you start this process, you need to sit down and figure out why you want to stop overspending. You need to have a strong why and some strong goals that you want to hit. So number 1, a waiting period. Implement this for yourself and it's going to cut out like 50% of your overspending, or at least it did for me. So every time you see something that you want to buy that you did not budget for or was not in your plan, usually when you would just go ahead and buy it, I want you to wait a predetermined amount of time. And it doesn't matter what that time is. It could be an hour, a day, a week, whatever feels best for you. The point here is to force the pause. So maybe you go to Target to get some regular groceries and you see something that's maybe on sale even, and you're like, oh my God, I have to have that. First, you're going to stop and you're going to think about your why. Why are you trying to stop overspending? Then you're going to say to yourself, okay, I set up my waiting period already. I'm going to go ahead and wait 1 day or whatever it is for you. And then if that 1 day passes and you still absolutely need that thing, go ahead and go buy it. A lot of times by the end of that waiting period, you're not going to want the thing anymore. Method 2 is a savings match. So create a rule for yourself that tells yourself every time you want to impulse buy something, you have to send that same amount of money to your savings account. And if you cannot afford to do that, you can't buy the thing. So again, with the example of going to Target, say you go to Target, you see a cute shirt that you want to buy, but you didn't plan to buy that and it costs $20. You can buy it if you can also send $20 to your savings account right there on the spot. That means you'd be spending $40. Can you afford to spend $40 at that time? That's up to you. And method number 3, write down a reason in your phone, in a notebook, whatever, of how does that purchase align to your goals. And remember, at the beginning I said you need to have a strong why and you need to have some good goals. So does that impulse purchase bring you closer to your goals? Does it align to your goals? Or are you actually taking away from your goals? You are in control of your life, and it is not up to anyone but you to make these things happen, okay? It is not up to anybody but you to stop your overspending. And if you are not going to get control of yourself and not learn to master your mindset to be able to pause and think about these things first, you're not going to make progress. So pick one of these things and try it out for a month and see how it does for you. See how much money you save. And actually, you can even keep a log of it. Every time that you want to make an impulse purchase, but you use a method and you save that money, write it down. And at the end of the month, see how much money you save. Let me know in the comments, what do you do to try to battle overspending or impulse spending? And as always, you got this, friend.
Here are 3 things I do with my finances as someone who used to chronically overspend and needs to protect their money from themselves. Number 1, I actually keep 2 kinds of emergency funds. The first one is my safety net account. So this one is for small purchases, like if I break my glasses or if I get a flat tire. I usually keep between $1,000 and $1,500 in this account. This account is the easiest one to reach for if I'm in an emergency and need some funds. The second account I have is the actual emergency fund. This one has 6 to 12 months worth of living expenses in it, and I keep it at its totally own separate bank from all of my other finances. Out of sight, out of mind, and that is the account that I will reach for if my whole life falls apart. The second thing I do is I use my debit card for daily purchases. I use my credit cards for anything that's predictable, so like reoccurring bills or like a large expense that I've already saved up for that I can use my credit card for and then immediately pay off. The third thing I do is I put money into my fun spending account by earning money from myself through doing no spend days or going to the gym. Basically, I reward myself for good behaviors. These are my favorite ways to quit/manage impulse spending as a recovering super spender. Number 1, track your daily spending. I know it sounds like such a hassle, but even if you do this at the end of the week, so at the end of the week, if you review each day and you see how much you spent, having that perspective is really helpful. Because when it comes to impulse shopping, a lot of the rationale is like, oh, it's $10, it doesn't matter. But if you're spending $10 3 times a day, every day of the week, that adds up. Number 2 is practice letting your emotions pass. So oftentimes when we're impulse spending, it's driven by an emotion. Even if that emotion is boredom, that still counts as something happening. So usually when I'm feeling like a heightened sense of emotion, maybe urgency, like urgency is a really big one when it comes to impulse buys. If you're lying to yourself and saying like, if I don't buy it now, I will never be able to buy it. If you can tell that you're lying to yourself, that's an impulse buy. So just take a breath and practice letting those emotions just go by. Just it will pass. We just have to practice letting it. Number 3 is further granulize your budget. So instead of saying like, I have $200 to spend in a week for whatever, for if I want to go out, for if I want food, for if I need to fill up my gas tank, that is kind of too broad. That includes too many things. And so oftentimes we will go too hard on the fun stuff in the beginning of the week and then we'll run out of money in the second end of the week. So what we want to do is break that budget down into smaller buckets. So have one for food, have one for transportation, one for going places with people, one for eating out, one for shopping. Break it up into smaller pieces and factor in casual shopping, which doesn't have to be tied to a wish list item. It can be like a choose your own journey. Just spend this money on what you want. And so if you want to impulse buy something, it's gonna come from that finite amount of money. Number 4 is tell someone about the thing that you want to buy before you buy it. Now, I recommend calling one of 2 people. The first one can be someone who is more hype about purchases than you, so much so that when they're hype about something, you know they're full of crap, and so it kind of gives you the ick, you know what I mean? So if you call someone and you go, oh my god, I love this, what do you think? And they're like, that's the best thing ever, it's so amazing, you have to have it. If that gives you the ick like it gives me the ick, call that person. But if it doesn't, call someone like me, where if you call them, they'll go, do you have the money for this? How much is it? Is it even worth that? I don't know, it's kind of ugly. Like, call someone who is most likely to give you the ick about a purchase. My final tip, which is something I will always include in these videos, is stop using your credit card, because part of the problem with impulse spending and enabling that is having access to funds, which credit cards provide to us. So even if we don't have that money in our budget on our debit card, we can still lean on credit cards. And that's an issue, especially if you have an overspending problem, an impulse spending problem. Set them aside. They're not your friend. If you're a recovering super spender like me and you don't really have like a community or someone you can talk to or an accountability buddy that you can go to talk about these random purchases or big hauls or things that you're having trouble with when it comes to your budget, go ahead and subscribe to my TikTok page and it'll give you access to a recovering super spender Discord chat. I or someone else in the group can help give you support, advice, anything like that.
Here are 5 easy things you can do to cut your expenses completely in half. These are things I've done along my journey and things that I think can help you along yours. Everyone's experience is different, so therefore it's going to look different for each person. My number 1 thing, eating out. You don't have to completely cut it out, but buy groceries more and maybe cut it down to once a week. If you eat out 5 days a week, cut it back to 3 days a week. Number 2, subscriptions. So I just Googled this and the average person has 17 subscriptions a month. When I looked at mine like 2 years ago, I had like 6 a month and I thought that was a lot. Number 3, shop smart. What this means is shop around. When you go to buy a purchase, ask yourself, do I really need it? And this is like a bigger purchase. Look on Facebook Marketplace or these secondhand stores. See if you can find a better deal somewhere else. Number 4, don't buy things that you don't necessarily need. And what that means is like a new lipstick. You go into the store for groceries and you're like, oh, let's go look at the lipsticks. I need a new lipstick. When really you don't need it. And that $5 lipstick can save up and add up over time. Number 5, and the most important, stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Stop comparing yourself to others. Just because you see Sally Joe with the newest thing that's trending right now doesn't mean that's what you need. Is it nice to have those things? Yes. And can you have those things and still be on a budget? Absolutely, yes. You just gotta learn to pace yourself.
Hey y'all, so here's how to balance out your spending. I use this for all my budgeting clients, and here I'm going to be showing you the secret to it. So there are 4 main categories that we use. Number 1 is going to be our needs, and then number 2 is going to be our wants, 3 savings, and 4 is going to be investment/debt repayment. Now, balancing out your spending is really about what makes you feel comfortable. So we have 60%, 20%, 15%, and 5%. And then that totals out to be 100% of your income. So next, we're going to go ahead and break down our income and say we make $20 an hour, which is going to be about $3,200 a month gross, working full time. And then taxes are going to be about 20%. So with the taxes being 20%, then that gives us a net of $2,560. So now what we're going to do is break that up into our 4 categories. So what you do is take that net amount and you multiply it by the percentages that you set for yourself, and then the numbers are going to tell you exactly how much you have to spend in that category. So try this out for yourself and let me know how it goes.
As a recovering super spender, here are some things that I do that help keep overspending and impulse buys under control. First and foremost, I have to protect me from myself, which means I do not use credit cards for daily purchases. I don't keep my credit cards in my normal wallet. I don't keep them saved in my Apple Wallet because I don't want to give myself access to a way that would allow me to overspend. My credit cards are just for bills and any kind of expense that I can predict, see from a distance, save for, and then immediately pay off once it happens. This will never stop being my #1 tip for quitting overspending. Now, the next thing I did that helped to stop overspending and impulse buys was I practiced saying no to myself. I don't really have a lot of bad habits. I've always just kind of done what I was supposed to do, done what I was told to do. And so I did not have practice saying no to myself because I felt like, I deserve a little treat. I deserve things here and there. Only things here and there became things like daily, twice daily, and then it just kind of gets out of hand. So I realized, I need to practice wanting something and then saying no, which I guess is another way of saying I was practicing self-control. But on a related note, I stopped hyping up things that I knew I did not need and would not change my life. If something is being marketed as a must-have, you have to have this, your life will never be the same, so on and so forth, take a minute. Maybe it is useful. Maybe it's a useful tool. Maybe it will make your daily life easier. Wait till you have money set aside because even though it exists now, it will exist, in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month. If it's truly a life-changing thing, it will be around by the time you have money saved up for it. If it's not actually a life-changing thing, finally, the last thing that I did that was a complete game changer for me when it came to preventing overspending was I keep my being alive money and my everything else money completely separate. My being alive money is money that I'm allowed to use for food and transportation specifically, and weekly I give myself $150 for that. Now my everything else money is for dinners, going out with friends, shopping. Literally everything else is over here, which means if I have $100 left for the week and I see a dress that I want, maybe I have, Saturday and Sunday left, but it's Friday. How much money could I need of that 100 to be alive Saturday and Sunday? Doesn't matter. I can't use my being alive money for things that I just want, because that, without fail, causes my whole money structure to just crumble, because if I don't have my being alive money and I don't have any other reserves that I can tap into, I'm basically broke until I either get paid or, I get to replenish my weekly allowance. So give yourself a weekly allowance that is your being alive money, okay? Keep it separate from your fun money. Everything that would require you to use being alive money for a want is a no. When you boil it down, all of these things are ways to kind of supplement self-control, because I know that for me, I hate it when I see things that are why don't you just have self-control? That's amazing advice. Unfortunately, my brain doesn't recognize that as a feasible course of action, because I could go, yeah, I could have self-control, but why would I want to do that? It doesn't give me any serotonin. So these are just ways to sidestep that issue or combat it a little more.
These are my 4 non-negotiables for spending money or buying something that I want. And this is coming from a recovering shopaholic. Number 1, if I don't have the money for something, I'm not getting it. Period. This seems obvious, but so many people will use Afterpay, yes, you're not in credit card debt, but you are still owing someone something for a material item that you did not have the self-control to save up for and buy with money that you had. Number two, if I do have the cash for something, but I have not wanted this thing for at least a couple of weeks or a month, I'm not getting it. I have such a horrible habit in my past of impulse spending and buying something just because it's right in front of my face. So if it's a pair of shoes that I really, really want, but I haven't thought about it for more than a couple of weeks, not getting them. Number three, and this is gonna get a lot of the girls out there, if I'm not completely out of a product, I'm not buying a new one. For example, I have wanted to try the new Rhode blushes for so long, but the fact of the matter is I still have plenty of the blush that I already have and already wear every single day, so I'm not gonna go spend $30 on a new blush when I still have blush. Lastly, and this one is huge, something being on sale or a good deal does not equal me needing it or wanting it bad enough to spend my hard-earned money on. Stores in general are so smart about marketing, and they will mark prices up just to put them on sale, so you're really paying full price. Yes, this is not always the case, but don't fall into the trap of spending $400 that you don't have at a sale just because it was on sale, but you still couldn't really afford to spend $400.
If you want to quit being broke, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you're going to have to get some self-discipline. Take a good long look at your spending habits. Go look at your past bank statements, do what you have to do, and see where are you blowing your money, and you are going to have to rein that in. If you love certain things and you want to keep spending money on them, put a limit on it for yourself. Make it a variable expense so that you do not blow all of your extra money on that thing. Go ahead and go add up all the times you got DoorDash in the past month, or all the times you went to Starbucks, or all the times you went to Walmart and bought snacks, and see how much of your money you're blowing. You would be very surprised. Don't steal from yourself. If you put money into savings, do not go into your savings to get that money out to buy something that you want to buy. No, give yourself a budget, give yourself limits, and stick to it. That requires self-discipline. You have to ask yourself, is my future self going to be happy with these purchases? And are the purchases I'm making right now getting me closer to my financial goals, or am I stealing from myself? Budget on the day you're paid or prior to. Do not get paid and let that money sit in your account for a few days, or else you're going to blow your budget before you even make it. You need to be planning your money the day it drops into your account, and you need to move that money around. If you need to set appointments with yourself on the calendar, do that. I have to do that because if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. And I know that about myself, so I do that. If that's something you need to do in order to get ahead, please do it. Control your impulses. If you go out and you see something you want to buy, put a time limit on yourself and force yourself to wait to buy that thing. Every single time that you're out and you make an impulse purchase, you are stealing from yourself. Something else you can do is ask yourself, am I willing to send the same amount of money that this thing will cost to my savings account right now? If you can't afford to do that, or you are not willing to do that, do not buy that thing. Eat at home. And no, I don't mean DoorDash. And I know this is cliche, but this seriously helps. I am guilty of this. I love to go out to eat, but if I don't have the money left in my budget to go out to eat, because I do set money aside specifically for that, then I don't go do it. Find meals that you can make at home for a good price and make those meals. Go on Pinterest and find copycat recipes of things you love and make them yourself. Even go on ChatGPT and type in what are some budget-friendly meals and go shopping and get those ingredients. Whatever you have to do, stop ordering DoorDash all the time unless you've budgeted for it, and stop going out to eat every time you're too lazy to cook. And finally, you need to save. Every single paycheck, you need to save something, whether it's $1, whether it's $100, I don't care, just save something. The point is to get into the habit of saving because this is very, very important to you. You need to have an emergency fund, which is going to keep you from being completely broke. I say all this with love. Trust me, I want to see you win, and that is why I'm here. If you're watching this video feeling triggered, just know that I love you and you are meant to see this video for a reason. Take control of your life. Learn self-discipline, because if you can master yourself, you can master anything. Self-discipline and consistency took me from being a very broke, sad, single mom to being financially free, and you can do it too. Learn how to master yourself. I believe in you. You got this, friend.
Top of the freaking morning to you, babe. It's Friday, so let's have a serious conversation. Approximately 1 week from today, it's going to be Black Friday. Let me tell you something, bestie. You do not need to be buying everything that pops up on your For You page. It is going to be ad galore. It's going to be ad galore, and I'm telling you, you're going to be tempted. You're going to be tempted. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm speaking for myself too. I'm not telling you to not shop on Black Friday. I'm more so telling you not to buy everything in sight. Okay? Okay. Let's just do a little bit of de-influencing for a second. These posts that are going to come in next week, take them with a grain of salt. They're just trying to get their money. I respect it, but they're really trying to get you, babe. They're really trying to get you, and they're gonna get you. They're gonna tell you they've been using that product for 8 months, baby. No, they haven't. They just got it in this week for Black Friday. Don't let them lie to y'all. That being said, don't forget about your parents. Don't forget about your parents. Don't forget about your grandparents. Don't forget about the people that took care of you. I know me, I love to spoil my boyfriend, but your parents have been there your whole life, bestie. Take care of them too. You know, within reason, within budget, babe. Don't forget what the holiday's truly about. Be thankful, be grateful. Don't forget what you have. We take for granted what we have every day. Alrighty, y'all. I'm gonna have a wonderful Friday, and I think you should too. Be responsible and stay safe, everyone.
Things I never do with my money as a spending coach who helps women stop impulse shopping and overspending. I'm Paige, the founder of Overcoming Overspending, which is an online community where I give you the tools to stop sabotaging your finances through your spending habits. Before I get into these 5 things, I just want to say that I am certainly not perfect at any of these. And when I say never, I mean almost never. If you know me and you know my story, you know that I have come a long way with my spending habits. At one point, I impulse shopped my way through my $60,000 salary, which if you want to hear that story, you can go to my profile and hear that. But if you're watching this video and at the end of it, you think like, well, that's great for you, but that could never be me. Don't fall into that trap. It's simply not true. Spending money is a skill. It's something that you learn and you can get better at over time. So yes, these 5 points, I absolutely still struggle with them. However, they are rules and guidelines that I use to direct my spending, and they are things that I consciously work on every single day, and you can too. The first thing is I never spend money from a place of fear or scarcity, which again is really hard to do in today's world because scarcity, urgency, and fear tactics is the #1 way that marketers and retailers get you to spend money that you weren't planning on spending. When they tell you that there's only a certain amount left, that something's going to go out of stock, that the price is going to go up. These are all tactics to scare you into spending money. So before I spend any money, what I always do is I always drop down into my body and I say like, okay, what's the underlying emotion driving this purchase? And if it's fear, stress, anxiety, I do not spend money when I'm in that emotional state. Because when I do make a purchase from that place, it always ends up being a purchase I regret making. The second thing I never do with my money is to add more things into my cart just to get free shipping. Now I will say this, there's one scenario where I actually will do this, which is when the amount that I have to add to my cart is like exactly what the shipping is. So if I have to add $10 into my cart to save $10 of shipping. However, that actually very rarely happens where it's a one-to-one give like that. Most of the time it's like I have to add $20 into my cart just to save $5 in shipping. This is super hard to do because our brains view shipping as an inconvenience cost, a fee that we don't want to pay. And so we will irrationally spend more just so we don't have to pay for that shipping. But it's a promise that I've made to myself and something that I have to practice. I don't ever spend more just to save a little. The third thing I never do with my money is to try and buy things that I know can't be bought. I never try to solve an internal problem that I'm having with an external solution, meaning I never try to buy my confidence. I never tried to buy my self-worth. Now, there were a lot of years where I tried to do that very unsuccessfully, and it took getting to a point of realizing like, okay, no matter how much I spend, no matter what I buy, no matter how much I am altering my external environment, this isn't solving the problem that I wanted to solve. I had to come to the realization that there are just certain things that cannot be bought. So something that I practice now is not trying to solve something that can only be solved internally with my money. The fourth thing I never do with my money is spend money for other people versus spending it for myself. The year that I impulse shopped my way through my annual salary, I was absolutely spending money for other people. Now it was for me, but it was really for other people. I was desperate for the attention and the validation and the praise of other people. I got sucked into a lot of trends. I ended up spending a lot of money on things that weren't really me, but I thought that other people would like them. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to belong. I wanted other people to look at me and say like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. She's so trendy. And so I ended up spending a lot of money for other people, but it really didn't do much for me. The fifth and final thing that I never do with my money is buy something when I know that I'm most likely going to return it. I see this a lot with my clients is they spend a lot of money just being like, oh, well, if I don't like it, I can return it. And listen, I am not saying that you should hold on to a product that you don't like or doesn't work for you. But I also feel like we do a lot of spending with the backup of being like, oh, I can return it if this doesn't work out. out. But the truth is like we pretty much already know that we're going to return it. So really what we're doing is we're using spending to get the dopamine hit, to kind of give ourselves the high of the buy and to entertain ourselves in the moment, then knowing that later on we're going to go be returning it. So the question I always ask myself is, if returning this wasn't an option, would I buy it? Now, of course, we know that usually it is, but when I'm in that moment in the purchasing decision, I take the return possibility off the table for just a moment to bring me some clarity around the purchase. So those are the 5 things as a spending coach I never do with my money. And if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you. If you are struggling with impulse shopping, overspending, and your spending habits, this is definitely the place that can help you. Head to my profile and start with my free resources. You can find my podcast. You can find a link to a free masterclass I have